Good evening. Professor Ben Marks, Executive Dean, College of Business and Economics, and I should say one of my most favorite guys at the great University of Johannesburg. And I understand, sir, this is your last professorial inauguration we are doing tonight. And really, I wish to thank you. Professor Ben Marks is a wonderful guy. And those who know him will attest to that. He's a wonderful guy. I made a commitment. I'm sorry, Professor Greyling, to be saying this. I made a commitment. He gave me a pair of socks. And so CPE socks. I made a commitment that I will wear them every day. And really, I do wear them every day, even during weekends. Professor Talita Greyling, our inductee, and I should say congratulations even before we start. Professor Berger, Academic Director of the Erasmus University, Rotterdam. I understand he's joining us. Is he here? I think he's, yes, online. Professor in Economics of Happiness at the Open University of the Netherlands and visiting professor at this great University of Johannesburg. Senior leaders of the university, members of Senate and other academics. I see my old friend, the former dean of the College of Economics, who's sitting next to the vice dean there. So I'm in the company of friends, actually. I wonder what time I'm going to get home after this. Distinguished guests, students. I asked Professor Greyling before we came here, I said, are your parents here? And she said to me, I have my two mothers here and I see them. And I would like to extend a special warm welcome to the two of you to this amazing occasion. And all of those who are joining us online, Sanibonani, Kuyanand, good evening, Tobela. It is a great honor and a special privilege for me to welcome you to the Professorial Inaugural Lecture of Professor Talita Greyling. As I do so, I wish to express a warm welcome to her loved ones, special guests, and colleagues. This is indeed a proud and joyful, and yet a landmark moment for all of you. For you, Professor Greyling, for us here at the great University of Johannesburg, for higher education in South Africa and beyond. The inauguration of professors is a public ceremony in which newly appointed professors are inducted into office by the Vice Chancellor. I should say, to my great regret, I'm not the Vice Chancellor, I'm standing in on behalf of our wonderful Vice Chancellor, Professor Litlokwa Mpedi. And those who are inducted then deliver their inaugural addresses. The ceremony has its roots in the medieval university, and it serves multiple purposes. First, it is an expression of welcome and an entry for new professors joining this wonderful circle of colleagues who are already called professors. And tonight, we count our inductee, Professor Greyling, to this special group of professors. Secondly, it provides a platform for professors to display their expertise in the discipline and to showcase their research. So in the colonial traditions subscribed to by many universities, assuming the role of the professor refers to the gown and the cap. And there is the gown and the cap, and you will see Professor Greyling wearing the gown and also donning the cap. Once we have listened to the inaugural address, the gown denoting the professorship will formally be assumed. And tonight it will be assumed by Professor Greyling. Today, we gather to witness Professor Greyling's entry into the illustrious community of scholars at our university. It celebrates her contributions to the discipline and ultimately her impact on society. Professors provide a university with its identity, with its character, its academic legitimacy, and its integrity. The inaugural lecture is a rite of passage following the confirmation of the appointment of a person as a professor. This evening, we'll listen to Professor Greyling's as the gown goes to town. By this, I mean that the power of the inaugural address is when the expertise is showcased beyond the corridors of the university and reverberates with society. It stands out as a moment of pride for the incumbent, her family who are present today, fellow scholars that I see this evening, the university, and ultimately the society as a whole. In the past, several professors and scholars have defined universities using very narrow conceptualizations. For example, the search for truth, for universal knowledge, and even as instruments serving the purpose of the economy. Through our work and research at the University of Johannesburg, I hope we can break out of these narrow conceptualizations and reflect on the university as contributing to the broader public good, working towards societal impact. What is the role then of an intellectual? An intellectual like Professor Greyling, who's here tonight. Edward Said, in one of his articles, defines the role of the intellectual one who commands a vast knowledge of a specific discipline, one who's rigorous in the analysis of literature, one who views being as an intellectual as a vocation, and one who functions as a kind of public memory to recall what is forgotten or ignored, to make the connections that are otherwise hidden, and to provide alternatives, for mistaken policies. It remains then for us as a university with a Pan-African vision to derive our mandate as intellectuals and as professors. And importantly, how do we embrace the role of a professor as a disruptor while continuing to be flagship carriers of our disciplines? This evening, ladies and gentlemen, we'll listen to Professor Greyling as one further step in the journey of being a professor. This is a journey which does not conclude once this lecture has been given. Notwithstanding, this inaugural lecture does create an opportunity for a self-reflective pause in the journey of the professor. Let me now invite my good friend, the Acting Executive Dean, Professor Ben Marks, to introduce our inductee, Professor Talita Greyling. I thank you. Yabo, Bayadam.
Thank you, Prof. Bongani. Good evening, colleagues and friends, and especially the grannies that's here tonight. It's exceptional having you here. It's my honor and my privilege to introduce to you an exceptional person, a phenomenal academic, and somebody, I think, who needs no introduction. But it is still my honor to introduce to you tonight Professor Talita Greyling. Professor Talita Greyling is a happiness economist. I didn't know that exists, but a happiness economist. The economy needs to be happy. A happy economist, a full professor at the School of of Economics at the University of Johannesburg and a B-rated NRF researcher. She is recognized internationally, and her groundbreaking contributions to well-being economics through the initiatives of big data and fourth industrial 4IR methodologies. She pioneered the Gross National Happiness Today, GNH.Today project, which also used AI and big data techniques to create real-time happiness and emotional indices. The real-time data, a global first, has been accepted by Stats New Zealand as an official statistics and has earned several prestigious nominations and awards for Prof. Talita. Among the awards and nominations are the Vice Dean Chancellor's Distinguished Award for Innovation in 2021 and the prestigious International Research Fellow Award for substantial contributions to the quality of life studies in 2024. Furthermore, she was nominated by the Human Science Research Council, Universities of South Africa, for the medal and the Harry Oppenheimer Fellowship Award. Her innovative approach has not only revolutionized the measurement of well-being, but also led to a series of influential COVID-19 publications that received honorary mentions for their significant impact, which underline her status as a leading researcher in happiness economics, big data, and AI. These publications include studies recognized as the best happiness paper by the Econ Papers, Happiness Lost, that governments made the right decisions to combat COVID-19, South African Journal of Economic and Management Science, top cited articles by Wiley, A Tale of Three Countries, How Did COVID-19 Lockdown Impact Happiness? Question many of us were asking. South African Journal of Economics and the research paper, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Lockdowns During COVID-19. Pulse 1, which also, according to old metric, was in the top 10% of all research outputs. Talita has authorized many books chapters, and numerous articles in high-impact journals, establishing her, according to Scopus rankings, as the leading well-being happiness economist in Africa. She holds an honorary appointment as a research associate at the Auckland University of Technology and is a visiting professor at the Nahides Research Network and Zinkiewicz Institute, Swansea University of Wales in the UK. She has delivered keynote addresses at international conferences and presented many international webinars on 4IR and well-being measurement. Known as the voice of happiness in South African media, she frequently appears on radio and TV shows and is quoted in print media. She is also a TEDx speaker. I must say, the other day my wife said that's your colleague on the news there. So, Talita, you are well known. In addition to her research, she is the Vice President of the International Society for Quality of Life Studies, a member of the World Wellbeing Panel, a research fellow of the Global Labour Organization, and a member of the European Economic Association. She's also an associate editor of high-impact academic journals, namely the Journal of Happiness Studies and Applied Research in Quality of Life. Professor Greyling is involved in various international collaborations and projects, including the Wellbeing in a Sustainable Economy Revisited project for Horizon Europe 2022. As the lead researcher of projects, she has successfully secured over 7 million in research funding since 2018. In 2024, she established the Center for Wellbeing, AI and Social Science, the first of its kind that will advance global well-being and social science research. Furthermore, she was the organizing chair for the first regional ISQ OLC Conference Africa, hosted by the University of Johannesburg, focusing on well-being and happiness in a democratic world in October 2024. I can go on for much longer, but it's my honor to introduce to you Prof. Talita Greyling.
Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to stand in front of you. I had this whole speech written and obviously it's out of my mind now. So if you see me dancing around here, that's my normal style of lecturing and keeping students awake. But welcome to everybody. Welcome to my friends that came from far away. Welcome to my family. A special welcome to the mothers, as you notice them this side. And thank you very much for the professors being here tonight and, as I say, stealing away from their families and time from their families. Let me just check. Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you about. I've got a few mentors, basically 2, and both of them are here. 3, Fiona's here as well. And I asked them, what should I tell people here? And basically they said, tell them the journey. How did you get where you are? So that's what I'm going to tell you tonight. So this is just a welcome. If I forgot something, I had it on here. And with that, I would like to thank the Senex for recognizing the impact of my research and for the appointment as a professor. And in a very, very short academic career, I will tell you more about that. I must say, I didn't know academia was for me. And I ended up in academia, and I love it. It's my passion. It's my research. I should have been here many years ago. So just my journey, how did I get here? I started out, I had this ambition. I'm going to be this power woman and I'm going to be a corporate lawyer. Started studying BCom, a legal BCom. And then I met up with Frederick van Fourie, which you will know was the Vice Chancellor of the University of the Free State. He was my lecturer. What an amazing man, brilliant. And he convinced me to continue with economics. My postgraduate was then in economics. And I started my career at Treasury in the unit of fiscal analysis as a researcher. We gained a lot of insights into policy, where we, at the end of the day, would like to make a difference, also in preparing budgets. So I've got some of experience there, but then I got married, and newly married, I moved with my husband, relocated, and wherever, that happened by itself. How do I go back? Let's go back. So wherever we moved, I tried to lecture economics. There's always somewhere you can lecture economics. And then I also facilitated management courses, also at corporate training. So F&B, BMW, government departments, a very lucrative job, but you travel a lot. And I had 2 small little children. At that time, I got the opportunity to join University of Johannesburg, and I thought that's the right thing to do. So I am at the University of Johannesburg. I'm still here, and it also gave me the opportunity to do my PhD. Now, macroeconomics is my field. I love macroeconomics. The whole idea, I love math, I love data, I love the modeling, and so I lectured macroeconomics. So it was, then something happened, and basically, let's go to the right side. I'm going to tell you my story. This lady you see here is my sister, if you don't see the connection. And she's a medical doctor and specializing in HIV. So I visited with her, and she said, she called me. She said, just come along with me. I'm going to do my rounds. And the first round was at a rural clinic. Now, not a lot of staff, volunteer doctors going there. As we drove in, there was a line of mothers and children waiting there, about 40, since early dawn. So we walked in, and she said, and there was a mother with a baby, baby girl, 9 years old, and they put the baby down, or the girl, and she said, you watch this girl. If she stops breathing, you call me. Because in the meantime, let me just go back. I think this is on a timer. How do I go back? I will have to call in my, I don't know what it's going. Can I do it without my slides? Which I would prefer. But anyway, or can I call my technical assistant quickly, please? Why do we children. If you could just check and go back for us, please. Anyway, so I had this, my sister is older than I'm very scared of her. So she said, okay, thank you. So she said, watch this child, tell me if she stops breathing. Now, if you've never been in the unfortunate position of watching a child and looking at every breath, and she's so scared that something will happen to the child, you should be fortunate. The ambulance arrived, took the child away. I never knew what happened to the child. Maybe good, I don't know. But at that stage, I realized, where is the system? Why is just this child here? Why didn't the child get the medical attention needed? But that was at the end of the day. So now we're doing the rounds at the foster houses. And many of these foster houses also had HIV children. Stopped at the first one. I walk in and they put a baby in my hands. Small little thing, this side. And they say, they found the baby on a rubbish dump this morning. Will you just comfort her? Okay, so that changed my world completely. The question is, why does this happen? What is wrong? I'm not a medical doctor. I can't do anything to the lives of these children, but maybe I can make a difference. And from there, macroeconomics to well-being, quality of life. Now, am I at the right place? I hope so. So, my PhD. What I realized is, also from my management, teaching management, is where do we start? Where can we make a difference? And according to Peter Drucker, he said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So, easy starting point for my PhD. Start measuring well-being. Now, well-being is a very wide concept. It's got many dimensions. So, if you think of the concept, it hasn't really got a standardized measure, still doesn't have, but I developed a measure in my PhD, measuring each of those dimensions. Now, well-being has dimensions of health, economics, so society, environment. So there's many of these dimensions, and somehow or another they need to get together. This is definitely on a timer, and I don't know how to go back. Do you mind if I keep my technology guy here on the round? Sorry about that. But if you think about that, I had to then get this whole index together. I weighted it, and at the end of the day, we could measure well-being. So now we had a baseline of measuring well-being. And except for that, we had the different dimensions. We knew which dimensions needed attention, but also we knew which is the vulnerable groups. So we could move into this. So that was my first measure. But you know what? Economics, and for the economists, has become a very technical side. And I realized, but you know what? Economics is actually about humans. So I wanted to see what is the human side of, where does the human come into this well-being? So I looked at different measures and then found, oh, now I'm behind. Let's just see. Okay, so I looked into what are other options. And what I found is you can ask a person. You don't have to measure their quality of life. That's important. But you can just ask a person, how satisfied are you with your life? And they can give you the answer. So this was a new dimension that I moved in. This is a very new field of happiness, not very new. Started 1970s, where people really asked what matters. Is it money, or is it being happy, fulfilled, having life satisfaction? And the answer is obviously life satisfaction, because otherwise I wouldn't have chosen this direction. So if you look at happiness studies, and happiness is the local language, actually we're looking at life satisfaction, which is the question on how satisfied, evaluation of your life, quality of life. But you also have other measures in here, which is then positive effect. Maybe I should just speak faster. Positive effect, which is a measure of happiness, and which is laughter, joy, so short term. And then you've got negative effect, which is sadness, anger, and negative emotions that we measure. So let's see if I can now go on. So the question is, why does happiness matter? And now happiness is the local language, like smiling. It definitely matters. You can just think people that's positive and happy is more productive. They live longer. They are more able to capture knowledge. So there's a lot of things about happy people. And then happy people have higher living standards of living, like quality of life. And obviously that's what we want. That is the aim, is to maximize the happiness and well-being of people. So is this field of study important? What is the significance? And we know it is. This is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is life satisfaction and happiness. United Nations accepted these measures in 2012. Then we have many countries is now they have for some time collecting well-being data. Then we have some countries that's driven to a well-being budget. So not making a revenue budget. It's more driven to improve the well-being of people. Then we also have Nobel Prize winners in this field. In 2002, we had Daniel Kahneman, which also brought in the psychology of the person into decisions. Also now recently, let's just see if I can go back. No, I can't go back. I still can't go back. No, it's fine. I've got it. Thank you. So recently we also have, we had a Nobel Prize announcement yesterday for economics. And if you look at Acemoglu, Johnson and Robinson, I actually congratulated them on the Nobel Prize. They also did something related to this. How societal institutions influence well-being. So once again, moving away from that hard concept of income. And then, all right, now I know we must measure well-being. That's the ultimate, that's where we want to get to. But also then I realized data isn't always available. What do we do? And the other thing about data is if it's surveys, you only get to see the data 2 years later. So there's a survey, 2 years later the data is cleaned, you can start working with it. And I realized this just takes too long. What is the other options? Surveys is also very costly. We have the time lags. There's all biases, measurement errors in survey. So I started looking at something that we can get quicker, faster. The world is moving. There's no time just to wait. So I looked at big data and then social media, which a lot of people use. You've got a lot of users. They give their opinions, evaluations, and maybe that was a source that we could use. A lot of betterments about big data is accessible. It's not as expensive. If you can get that into data and give the information to policymakers, they can know about immediately the implications of what's happening. And the turnaround time is so much bigger or faster, and actions to see how can they improve the quality of life and well-being of people. So here we started. So this is my major research field, my love, my passion, what I do every day. And if everybody will just leave me alone, this is all that I will do. But this is the Gross National Happiness Day project that we started in 2009, where we actually measure real-time happiness. So at any moment, I can tell you, at that stage, I will tell you what happened. An hour after it happened, I could tell you what was the happiness levels in a country. So this was a major breakthrough, and the reason I got international recognition, so actually, I suppose, luck and me playing around a bit, to create this index, what we did is extract a live tweet, extract a live Twitter feed, and while we extract it, I discovered language. You can get the sentiment of a tweet. Is it positive? And then it will be a plus number, negative a minus number, maybe neutral, 0. And from this, I could build an equation, mathematical equation, and measure well-being so that I can say, we are at level 5, we are at level 6, so we know where we are. So if we know where we are, we know what we should do to move forward. So there's obviously machine learning involved here, which we call natural language processing. Things have to happen quickly, so we've got data coming out. We have the analysis done by natural language processing, which is a lexicon, a library. And then we've got the equation, and we've got a website where you can see what happens. We did this initially for South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. And then Europe caught on and said, come on, we will fund you. Let's do it for a few European countries as well. So we extended it, and you see the countries there: Belgium, Germany, Great Britain, France, Italy, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Spain, and then maybe a little bit of a fun project. We did it for the rugby and for the soccer. Countries that were involved in those games, we also measured their happiness and what happens after a match. So there is some just pleasure into this as well. Were this work recognized? Professor Mark already mentioned a lot of this, but just to say that, yes, it has been recognized. New Zealand adopted this data as official statistics data. By the way, I would love the whole world to accept it. I'm working hard at that, different statistical services. Then it was wonderful. We received the UJ's Vice Chancellor's Distinguished Award for Innovation. Prof. Daniel had a good hand in that. And then it was featured by the OECD. Now, for you that don't know what the OECD is, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. These guys make policy in Europe. So where do I want to get to? Policymakers. It's all I can change the well-being. So they mentioned us. We were mentioned in their working papers as new technology to measure well-being. And by the way, I'm very excited. I've now been invited as a keynote in Rome, where I will present our newest work. And I hope, this is where I want to go to. I must get to policymakers. There will be 5,000 people and many policymakers, very different stakeholders. So let's hope the message will go to them that this is a way to measure real-time well-being. And then I was also selected to the World Wellbeing Panel, which is, I see the names and I don't know how I got there because these are great names, but it gives the opinion from Africa. It also gives the opinion from real-time technology. And then the ISPOS Fellowship Award was also amazing. If I look at the names that received it before me, it is big men standing in big feet. And I hope I can get there one day. I hope I can grow to their stature. Then we were, as I say, we are fortunate. We were lucky. When COVID-19 struck, nobody think COVID-19 is a good idea, but we were there. We had real-time data. We could tell people what's happening, what is the emotions of people, which gave us we could immediately get into research, tell people what happens in lockdown, how do people feel. And here our research was recognized. Prof. Marx also mentioned that. And we were able, I think I'm one ahead, but no, let's go one back. So there were 3 of our papers that got special mentions. The one was Wiley, which is a big publisher that mentioned our papers. We also mentioned Altmetrics. We were in the top 10% of cited papers for quite some time. And then, which was absolutely, am I still at the right place? I don't think so. Maybe I am. Now, let's go on 1, 2. Am I going back? I think maybe I am. Nog een keer. Okay. All right. And then also, not only in COVID-19, some recognition on COVID-19, when vaccinations came in, we could tell people what's the attitude towards vaccination. And if you can remember, there was a lot of negative feelings about vaccinations, but also there we could immediately say what's happening with vaccination, how do people respond. So we were, with real-time data, we were there. This also created, we were invited to write a book by Springer. The book was published about 2 weeks ago, just in time for the inauguration. So that's great to also see it in print. What happened next? I hope somebody's just still checking my time and that I can easily go on with this topic for the rest of the evening, so stop me when you need it. We have a very good South African, Elon Musk, and he bought Twitter, and he decided very friendly to stop all academic projects. So our Twitter index was gone. We had to find something different. if Elon Musk ever hear me, thank you very much. Thank you so much that you did it, because we moved into new sources and we are better than ever. We've got Google Trends. More people use it. It's Google searches. People don't actually know that you're listening to them. And we created a new index. This index, let me just go back again. So this index actually uses searches of people, and we can do it within a certain geographical area. It took me very long to get a very good estimation of happiness, because it's so different. It's not evaluation of person. I can't use sentiment analysis. I use different machine learning algorithms and estimations to, at the end, try to get a good fit. You see that what I get from Google searches is actually reflecting what we have in happiness. So I had to go and look at various emotion words, words that can capture emotion and capture it well enough to build an index, but we've done it. We're there. And we've also now done it for a few countries. We started off with the United Kingdom. The reason is they had survey data that we could estimate against. So they had a dependent variable, and we need that to estimate. And then we extended this to include the Netherlands. You will hear Martijn Burger from the Netherlands. He really helped with this. Action of people. Are they angry? What's happened? What's happening on the floor? So here was the estimation to fit a well-being index for the UK. And you can see it's not a perfect fit, but we will never get a perfect fit. So there's two lines. And so there is an error term. The error term at this stage, you measure it with a root mean square error. It's 0.09, which is just to give you an idea. I don't want to give you any formulas, but what it means is the difference between where you estimate and your predicted value and your true value. It's just how far it is. Now, the scale here is from 0 to 10. The mistake we have is 0.09. So it's a good fit. I'm happy with this. I will still improve this. But we actually have a colleague in the UK, and he followed the index to see how it reflects the UK. It was elections. There were a lot of, as you know, what's happening in the UK now, and it reflects as well. But we will still improve this. That is for the Netherlands. This is when we added extra words, which is country specific, like leuk, lekker, which is also used in the Netherlands, perfect. So these words were included, and we got that error down to 0.05. We did the same for South Africa, and even if you go onto our website now, gnh.today, you will see almost real time. Google Trends allows, there's one day that lapses. But to measure well-being in the country and to be able to inform policymakers on what's happening. For example, that is just what it looks like. That's what the index looks like online. If you go online, you will see that. At the moment, we've just got the measures for 3 countries. We will soon add New Zealand and then the USA. The elections is there. Let's see what happens and what's the effect on happiness. So this is next 2 weeks. If everybody just leaves me, I can do this. So we will get there. Then we've got, this is to show you what happened in South Africa since the elections. I love this picture. And this is a measure from the elections. That lowest point is the elections. Then you will see there was some time span where things didn't work out. There was a lot of debates. And then at last, we've got the GNU. And you can see that we're on a very good positive trend. So that positive trend is not only in the value of the rand that's strengthening, which is external, which shows more trust in the economy. But this is what's happening on the ground in South Africa, a really positive effect. That's really high points that you see there. They're really focused. Those were when we won rugby games. And so you even see that. And let me just go back again. Rugby games. And last weekend, I couldn't understand what's going on. That index is high the whole time. Then I realized it's the soccer. It's UEFA Cup, National Cup. I watched and I saw Italy versus Israel. I thought, no, what is Italy doing in Israel? And then I realized it's the soccer. So fantastic. Then what is the future of big data? Where are we going to? What do I see in the future? Obviously, my whole idea is statistical officers must realize the value of this data and start using it. But I also know that if we can use it, if we have more data, more measurement, we can make a difference. That's what we say. If we measure, we can manage. We can make a difference. And my ultimate goal is to make a difference in well-being. So we must get policymakers to use the data, measure, take corrective action to improve the quality of life of people. Just something which I liked is the Nobel Prize for Physics went to two masterminds in machine learning, recognized for neural networks. That's really advanced machine learning, and I think they're well deserved. Then, well, you heard my vision. My vision is get data, let people use the data, improve the well-being of people, not only in South Africa, in the world, but Africa really needs it. The conference was a week ago. I'm still very tired from that. We had 29 countries there, many African countries. The idea was to involve your African researchers, and I now have collaborations with quite a few African countries. So we will set this index, get it into Africa as well to make a difference to the well-being in Africa. And I'm almost there. I'm almost going to relieve you from this. This is my ultimate, this is the next step. I've done this research, and I've got a G&H team of one other researcher, a consultant and advisor, which you see here on the left, and a systems engineer. But we want to expand this. This data is not just for well-being, quality of life. We can expand this, and it can go to many social sciences where we don't have the necessary data. So my idea is establishing the center. The center is called CWISE, obviously playing on words, but also then is the Center for Wellbeing, AI and Social Sciences. We are busy establishing it. I hope it will see the light. I've got a lot of hope for that. All right, going back again. Sorry, let's leave that. And then, so the whole idea of the center, and at the moment we are leading the pack internationally. So we get a lot of ideas and collaborators from across the world that would like to work with us. This can place UJ in a position, I mean, UJ is already, I love UJ and the advances it made, but this can also contribute to the advances of UJ, being the leaders in this type of research, which is absolutely important, being well-being, quality, life-driven. And so let's hope this happens. And in the end, what is this about? It's about improving the quality of life of people. So, but then I must say that this journey is exciting. I still see a lot of goals, aims to the future. I think I will always be motivated to take it further. But on this road, it was impossible. This road, you can't do it with many mentors and people at your side. So starting off is Fiona Trigena. She was my supervisor. What a fantastic example. And still, I watch her. What did Fiona do? Let's follow in her footsteps. Then I have my colleague, partner in the Gross National Happiness of Today project, Stephanie Rousseau. She's in New Zealand. So we work 24 hours. When I'm awake, she sleeps, and the other way around. And we have been working together now for more than 10 years. Amazing colleague, always positive. Whenever I think, oh, we can't do this, she said, you can do it. So my colleagues, then I've got my mentors. I've got Professor van Wil, Daniel is here, which I will always seek some advice from. And thank you very much for all your advice. My other mentor is online, Martijn Burger. He's the director of the Happiness Institute at Erasmus University. Martijn doesn't have time. He's running millions of euros of projects. But if I ask him, he's always there to advise. Look at this, do this. A wonderful man. So, and except for my mentors, I have my colleagues. I've got from some of my esteemed colleagues here. It's the number of times I've asked Magda and just seen, I don't understand this equation, can you help me? And they said, just look at it long enough, it will pop into your head. And as time went along, the equations became my friends as well. I see Kevin as well. And then the deans and the vice deans of the college, they've always been enthusiastic about what they do, and I got amazing support from the university. I can just say the greatest things. The support they gave me, what they allow me to do is fantastic. And then obviously my friends are here. You can basically count them. It's because they're so special. So thank you very much to my friends. And then my family. My family is, I love my family dearly. And they are skilled. My husband, except for piano, he supervised me as well. Time management. Then he supervised me in quality of life. Come on, get away from your computer, get out of your study, let's go and do something fun. So if I see him walking into my study, I think, oh, shit, but I still have 2 hours of work to do, just give me some time. So, and supporting me in all my endeavors. Whatever I do, he supports me. I am very often traveling, and then since the children were this size, he would just go on. So without my husband, Johanna, I wouldn't be able to do this. Then my children, you already see my assistant, technical assistant here on the side. He is Robert, and he is not just my technical assistant, but also my advisor on stats and maths. So if I've got statistical, mathematical problems, he studied actual sciences and now works in the field. He's there to help with a lot of patience. And sometimes I can teach him something as well. And then I've got my daughter. My daughter is not here. She's in the Netherlands. She is an engineer. And she's got this wonderful wisdom where she can clear my mind, the project management side of things, the business side of things. And then they are both, I've got my son and daughter-in-law. They are so smart. I haven't got them into the business yet, but just give me some time. I will still go and seek their advice as well. And then I'm very privileged to have my mother-in-law here. And Hermine has been my editor. My mother used to be my editor. Hermine, we worked with her. And when my mother passed away, Hermine just naturally took over. So up to today, Hermine is my editor. And I will say my stand-in mother. I can phone and say, Hermine, do you know what happened? And she will be there and give such wonderful feedback. And then I've got my special colleagues, Peter Bauer, also from the department, always this wonderful support. And I think I'm now in my last sentence. I hope I didn't go over time too long, but thank you very much to everybody that's here. Thank you to my technical assistant with my slides. Yes, that was me. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Wonderful to be here tonight. I'm sorry Professor Greyling. I couldn't here be in person, like my teaching responsibilities prevented me doing so. But like I'm nevertheless very happy that I could be here present with you online. And yeah, first of all, thank you for your wonderful inaugural lecture. And I'm also very honored to provide a response to it. Although, can we really talk about like a response? Like it's more like an laudatio that I think I will give, because like I admired all the wonderful work you have done at the University of Johannesburg over the past years. And we've known each other then also like for already for a few years. So from my role as colleague at the university in Rotterdam, and from the International Society for Quality of Life Studies, we are both like happiness economists. And like in this regard, I'm also very happy to see that with your like chair in happiness economics at the University of Johannesburg, our field is also increasingly getting recognized by top universities. So, what about like your work and what makes it so great? And like since Link, I have known you, and I've been impressed by what you are doing. You have a wide knowledge and competence in the field of happiness economics, but not only happiness economics, also artificial intelligence. And you combined it, I think, with a very strong analytical mind and mathematical skills. And you have an excellent capability for applied research. Also, an excellent capability of linking theoretical and empirical approaches, and also a very open mind regarding new developments in the field, such as the application of AI, big data, machine learning in the field of happiness economics. And combining all these things makes you a very strong researcher. And like what is beautiful about our field of research, through research, we also try to create a better world and contribute to a greater happiness for a greater number of people. And I think that the development of these new methods will also, help to do so. And I think that if you look at your work, especially your work on COVID-19, policy and well-being is exemplary of this endeavor. Also, like I would like to stress, and it has been outlined in the presentation, the real-time happiness barometer of the Gross National Happiness Project. It's a phenomenal tool and a unique in its kind, and I have the feeling it will become the new world barometer, indicating how well different parts of the world are doing. So, like, we're not looking like at the temperatures in the world anymore, how warm it is in a few years, but we will have a world map showing real time on how different parts of the world are feeling. And that is not only like a very nice like tool to have, but it can also help to more readily inform policymakers and organizations without having to wait until survey results are in. As you mentioned, your career has been relatively short, but at the same time very impressive. I know you as a very serious, dedicated, hardworking economist who is also like fair, gentle, cooperatively oriented, and you have a keen eye for detail and precisions with regard to quantitative methods, machine learning, and that really helps to get papers published in top drawer journals such as like PLOS ONE, Social Indicators Research, and Applied Research in Quality of Life Studies. And with your partner in crime, Stephanie Rossau, her name was several times mentioned in your inaugural lecture, you form a powerful team that is, I think, taking the field by storm at the moment. So last year you were awarded the prestigious Research Fellow Award by ISCOS, also for like your substantial contributions to quality of life studies, especially with regard to the topic of well-being and artificial intelligence. But like what I especially would stress is that above all, you're also a very pleasant person to work with, and I really value our cooperation over the past years. You have a very positive attitude, you're curious, you're eager, and you always seek to learn more and to take the next step in advancing research. You're logical, rational, but at the same time very well able to think outside of the box. So to sum up, and like also Professor Greyling has, I think, convincingly shown that she has all the intellectual, analytical, and social skills that would make her an excellent professor at the University of Johannesburg. And I'm also very happy to see that this moment is there. She's a leading scholar in the field of happiness economics, and she will also be very valuable in the future to the University of Johannesburg and the research field at large. Also, personally, I hope that our cooperation will continue in the coming years. I think the Center for Wellbeing, AI, and Social Science that will hopefully be established at the University of Johannesburg. It provides an excellent opportunity also to strengthen the relationships between the Erasmus University Rotterdam and the University of Johannesburg, and we also hope to do so in the coming year. The center is unique in its kind. It's the first of its kind in the world, combining AI and machine learning with well-being science. The Google Trends database that you're currently building is also unique. And with this, you will propel the University of Johannesburg undoubtedly to the frontier in well-being research. There's a huge research agenda to be tackled. You mentioned it also, expanding methodologies, improving data accuracy, and providing data-driven research to improve well-being. So for the coming 20 years, like we have enough things to sort out. And that is not only important from a scientific point of view, but also from like a social point of view. As you mentioned in your presentation, the new Center for Wellbeing uses tools like of the fourth industrial revolution, but I think it also helped to solve social economic challenges and to advance even to the fifth industrial revolution. The fifth industrial revolution already designated and envisioned by the European Commission, in which human and community well-being is placed at the center of like the economic process, using new technology to deliver prosperity beyond jobs and growth, and also respecting the planet's production limit and future generations of well-being. And that is also especially what we try to find out in the Horizon project that we're working on together at the moment. So to finalize, Professor Greyling, Talita has achieved a lot in her academic career, and a lot can be expected from her in the near future. I think this is also now time to close and celebrate her inauguration, hopefully with a good braai and champagne, and then also raise the gross national happiness index of South Africa. I would congratulate her also wholeheartedly with her professorship, and also extend my congratulations to Johan, Megan, and Robbie. Robbie, you delivered also great technical assistance earlier, and also, of course, to the rest of the family, including all the Shih Tzus, and wish them all the best for the future. And I'll give the word back to the rector or vice chancellor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fun part. I would like to invite Professor Max to help with the robing of Professor Greyling. Now let us congratulate. I would like to congratulate you, Professor Greyling. You look actually wonderful. I mean, you look wonderful, and I would like to thank all of you for sacrificing your time to attend this wonderful occasion. And I would like to thank the professor who has joined us online and everyone who has joined us online. I'm sure all of you will agree this has been a wonderful occasion, and I would like to invite all of you to join us for refreshments in the lounge. And thank you very much, and congratulations, Professor. Thank you very much. That's great. Yes, thank you.